Hey everyone, welcome back to Rooted Vines. I missed you last Sunday and I do apologize. I have been so busy with the business and trying to get things working together for the good of everyone. And it just doesn't seem like I can work it out. I'm struggling here. I'm struggling, but I keep moving forward. So I'm so happy to be back here with you guys on our YouTube channel. I just want to let you know that I am Mayaka Anderson. If you have not been here before, please like, share, and subscribe. Help a sister out. I am the owner of Rooted Vines. We are a holistic health and wellness emporium where we help and by selling or offering natural products to help align your mind, body, and your spirit. Because if any one of those are off, you have some issues somewhere in your life, right? So we want to create a more balanced and a harmonious space for you to live. All right, you guys, I am so excited to be back. I had my family drop in last Monday and they just left yesterday. It was a wonderful visit. I got to see my grandsons. Finally got to meet Richard, who we call Bubba, from Alaska. He is the only grandchild I had not met, so I got to spend time with him. So excited, so much going on. We went to the Georgia Aquarium, and it just brought back memories, how I just have PTSD from a lot of little kids. So, anyway, I just want to get started in the show. I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about today, but someone gave me a suggestion. And the suggestion was, what would she say? Your choice ain't nobody else's problem. Y'all hear that, y'all? Your choice, your decision, the path you go ain't nobody else's problem but who? Your own. So let's get into it, All right, y'all, I'm back. I hope you like that intro. I'm doing it, y'all. I'm trying to figure this thing out as I go on. But today's topic, like I said, is your choice ain't nobody else's responsibility but yours, right? All right. So, as we talk about personal responsibility today, it is raw. It is a touchy subject, and nobody really wants to deal with it. And as you can tell, if you've watched any of my videos, I am very big on personal development, self reflection, self realization, because really the power is within you. But many people think the power is outside of them. They're looking for someone else to solve the problem, they're looking outward to the world to do what they're supposed to do, and they're waiting on someone to come save them. But you are your own savior. You get to choose what your life is going to look like, right? You get to choose how you're going to react. So, in that, it is really touchy because a lot of people don't want to do that. And now this world is really teaching people to be dependent, whether it's dependent on the government, whether it's dependent on your parents, even though you 40, 50 years old. I hear uh, men and women complaining about what their parents won't do, but you're grown and you got kids and you can't even do for your kids, but you're looking towards your parents to do something, right? Your job ain't doing what you want them to do. They ain't going to pay you, but you ain't even putting in the work. Now, I've seen that myself. People who are disgruntled about pay, but will not do what they signed up to do when they took the job. Personal responsibility. Everyone wants to point the finger at someone else instead of looking at self and changing things. Now, y'all know my dog. Here we go again. This dog. Hold on, y'all. Oh, y'all, I'm back. That dog. Every time. She don't take personal responsibility either. All right. So when we talk about personal responsibility, it's like you got to be that person to tell the other person they got spinach all in their teeth, right? You don't want to do it, but it's got to be done because you don't want them out there looking crazy and then they're looking at you like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Now, they'll accept that, right? They'll accept that and fix that. But we live in a world where we want to blame everyone else for our problems. Woe is me. Oh, when I was 5, I can remember when I was 10. I was a teenager, and my teacher told me, and I was in church, and the first lady cut her eyes at me because the way I wore my skirt. Everyone is, everything is everyone else's problem. And as I was saying that, the song by Jasmine Sullivan popped in my head. The one about you gonna make a hoe out of me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a crazy song, and yet so many people in a bad relationship will react in a bad way, and because that one person, and it could have been two, three, but we know there's some good people out here, but because that person treated someone else the way they did, they decided that I'm just gonna risk it all, right? I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna sleep with as many people as possible because this is what you really want. But what do you really want? Why is it that people can do things and we give up on ourselves? This is the thing. If you can't love yourself enough, you ain't got no business in a relationship. Nobody should be able to make a hoe out of you. Nobody should be able to make you do anything reckless just because they won't return their love. It's just you're not compatible. And that's fine. That's totally fine because what you do, you end up in this relationship like some people do. They fight for this relationship knowing this is a struggle love. And there's nothing cute about being in a struggle love relationship, honey. I've been there. Um, and then you get married. You just want them to marry you. You just want them to marry you. And you get married, and the marriage is like a sham because that person isn't they never intended to change, at least not for you. And some of them will go ahead and get married so you can shut your mouth. And you think because of that piece of paper, because they finally said yes, that things were going to get better. But they don't. And then you blame them. But you don't see your fault in the relationship. If you are not meant to be, you're just not meant to be. And it's okay. Have that person just step on away because your husband or your wife is on the way. Right? But we don't have patience, and it's everybody else's fault that we don't have patience. It's everybody else's fault that I can't find anyone to love me the way I want. Let me tell you, like attracts like. So if you know yourself, if you love yourself, if you treat yourself with the highest standards, that's what will come to you. And you won't have a problem shooting down someone who doesn't meet those standards, right? It's okay. You just keep saying no because that one yes is around the corner. But a lot of us want to give up. We're tired. Let me tell you something. Relationships are hard enough. And if you think you tired now because you dating, wait till you get married. You're going to be even tireder because it's always work. It's work in the relationship. But most of all, it's work on you. You are responsible for your feelings, your emotions, your reactions. All of that falls on you. You dictate how things will go for you, what you will and what you won't put up with. And then you will find processes and boundaries. I always talk about this, but it's so important to put in your relationships to safeguard not only the relationship, but you as an individual so you do not lose yourself. Because a lot of people lose themselves in a relationship. How do I know that? Because I've been there, honey. When I didn't know me at all, when I was just out here to be out here. Thought I knew some stuff, didn't know no stuff. But when I started to do the work on the inside, when I started to look at me, when I started to really figure out who I am, what I like, what I don't like, what I'm willing to put up with, what I'm just not, and I was okay with it, that's when doors started to open. That's when things started to come to me that I truly wanted, because I started to raise my vibrations and I started to attract the things that I wanted. And that's what people have to do. But we have too many people out here who are out here making crazy decisions and then expect you to answer your phone that you pay for and get mouthy with you because you don't have what they want or what they need, right? They calling you to borrow $500, $600, whatever, because they ain't pay their car note. But they also didn't go to work. They didn't pay their car note, but they figured out how to get their nails and hair done. They didn't pay their car note, but they got a man or a woman sitting underneath them, but they gonna call you to fill in the blanks. Come on now, I know y'all been there. This is unacceptable. And even though it's unacceptable, they get mouthy with you, because how dare you not set aside money to just sit there, so when they call you can just, here you go. How dare you not, or how dare you plan and budget for your vacations, for your night outs, or for whatever you're planning for, and you don't take that money and give to them. You're disloyal. Family ain't nothing no more, right? All over pieces of paper, all over money, all because that person chooses to make choices that don't make sense to nobody but them. But all of a sudden, the world is the enemy, right? The family's the enemy. They want to stop talking to you. Nobody wants to own up to anything. We have choices in this life. No one makes you do what you don't want to do. And some people will say, well, yeah, some people can make you do. If you find that yourself in that situation, that means you've made a decision earlier on that got you to that point. That means you made some choices and now you got here where you got to pay the consequence and you can't pay it. So someone's forcing you to do something you don't want to do. But when you break it down and you backtrack those choices, I promise you, you'll find out where it lies. And it will lie with you in a choice that you made. And it made you walk this line where you're with some unsavory characters doing some unsavory things. And now you really don't have any choice, right? But that no choice was a choice. But nobody stops to think about those decisions, those choices. Look, life and death is a thin line. Love and hate, very thin line. Being out of jail and in jail, very thin line. We have all been blessed if you've never been to jail, because I'm sure a lot of us have done stuff that if we was caught or wrong place, wrong time, that we would have been dead. We would have been in jail. We would have been in the hospital. Thin lines, right? But when do we stop wanting to live on those thin lines? When is it that we look at ourselves and the choices and the decisions that we make and we don't put them on other people? And not only do we not put them on other people, we don't put them on our children, right? Because a lot of children are suffering because parents made some crazy choices early on. You had that baby when that man said, I don't want no kids, right? He told you flat out, I don't want no kids. And basically, he probably said he didn't want to be with you, but you gonna force this man into fatherhood. And now he ain't no good. But you knew all along he wasn't the one. So now that you got to struggle and your child got to struggle, is everybody else's fault but yours. You don't take into consideration any of that. So now you're hounding child support. But my question is, if that man died, who would you hound then? Whose responsibility would fall on? These are the things we don't think about, you know? Men who grab them women that just look good, but they ain't got no substance. And then you walking around all brokenhearted later on. But you knew that. You saw her actions. You heard her conversations. You knew what kind of woman you gravitate towards. And yet it's everybody else's fault when it don't work out, but yours. But we have these choices. We see the writing on the wall and we keep walking into the wall thinking things are going to change. That wall ain't going to change. It's built to do one thing: keep you in or keep you out, right? It's not the wall's fault. It's yours, depending on how you're using the wall. Look, y'all, all I'm saying is that there's choices in life. There's choices in relationships, in your career. There's choices even when it comes to your diet. How you gonna live your life? How you gonna feed yourself? How you gonna feed your mind? How you gonna feed your spirit? Right? We have all of these choices. God gave free will, and then we turn around and act like we don't know that we have free will. Like we turn around and we act like I don't have anything to do with how my life is being ran. Isn't that crazy? You are living this life, but you have no power over self. Because that's really what it gets down to, right? You don't have any power over self. You just go back and forth with the wind. Whatever it brings in, that's what life must have for me. And I think that's the wildest notion, that you think you have no power. You have no substance. You are not worthy. And I'm trying to figure out, why are there so many people out here like this? And I know you're going to say, oh, because my mom said this, because the neighbor said this, because the teacher always said this. But if you're grown now, if you're an adult now, nobody wants to hear the teacher said. Nobody wants to talk about your mom and your dad. Nobody wants to talk about the pastor, your best friend, the bullies at school. Why? Because you have lived long enough that you know right from wrong. You have lived long enough that you should be able to sit with self and realize and really break those things down, right? Because if you treat everyone like an individual, take the titles away, take mom and dad away, take teacher away, take auntie, uncle away, no titles. We're all just human beings. You have good, you have bad, and you have the ugly. And not all of them are going to teach you what you need to know. And not everyone's going to talk to you in a loving way. And not everybody has that nurturing side. They may tell you that, but who are they? So you have to realize, when you start taking people as individuals, not as a title, because none of these titles come with, it's not like you go to work and they say you're a secretary and they give you a list of what a secretary does, right? And that secretary knows that job really well, that job. But if you took that same secretary and put her in a different company, they have different rules, and it would take her a while to become as good as she was at the company she's been at, right? Same thing. We are just human beings. We didn't come in here and then there was a role. Oh, this is what a child is supposed to do. Oh, this is what a mom's supposed to do. This is what dad, auntie, these are the specific specifications. This is how you talk. This is how you move. That doesn't exist. And we've all had trauma in our lives, which derails us, and some of us derails for a long time. And it makes us make even worse choices. And it just trickles down. It's like you throw the stone in the lake, and it ripples, right? It touches everyone. Whether you mean it to or not, it does. But someone in pain doesn't recognize that. Someone in pain doesn't really see that. And so a lot of us have had to bear the brunt of some painful things, because that individual went through some painful things and was not able to get through it properly, was not able to heal properly. And unfortunately, a lot of kids suffer because of it. But once you become an adult, you have to decide, do I want to continue to live my life in this hurt? And if not, what can I do about it to get rid of it? And how can I change the perspective of my life? And how do I find the power within? And how do I attract better than what I've been attracting? How do I seek? How do I knock? How do I ask for the proper thing so that I can vibrate at a higher level and bring things into existence that is here to help me, cultivate me, grow me, right? So that you can pass that on to others who have also been hurt and can't find their way out. That's what my mission is about. Finding those that have been hurt, who have been traumatized, helping those who are trying to be judgmental on those people understand that they are just human beings. What do you want? Until you have walked in someone else's shoes, you really can't say how they feel or how they hit them because you didn't have the relationship with whoever it was that hurt them. You weren't there. You don't know what that feels like, the betrayal, all of that. Now, you may have had it in your life, but every relationship with another person is different. Some are very, very deep, some are very, very shallow. And depending on what that relationship was like, it can really knock someone for a loop. It can really do something to someone's mind. And so I say this is that we need to learn to be kinder to each other, but we really need to learn to take personal responsibility. And in that, those who are enabling, those who are paying those car notes, those who are co-signing, those who are letting them come in and stay in your house and run rack shop, and they're not paying for laundry detergent, they're not paying for soap, they're not helping you feed the family, they're not bringing in groceries, but they are taking. You need to do some real work also within you to find out why you feel like everyone's problem is your problem. Why do you feel like you are the Superman in these people's lives? Why aren't you why aren't you willing to let the ball drop so that they can learn the lesson? Why aren't you willing to let God deal with them and you step back? How can you have so much faith in a God and yet you're trying to do his job? That doesn't work. It can't work. A lot of enablers are not only enabling people, but you are preventing them from their lessons and their blessings. They are staying in their situation longer than they should be because you are in the way. Move. What did Ludacris say? Move. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Right? I've talked about trespassing on another film. People trespass on personal space. Just because someone needs doesn't mean they need it from you. And just because they ask doesn't mean that they're your assignment. Are you trying to look good? What are you trying to do? Are you feeling guilty about something? So you have to do this? Do they know you're feeling guilty? Is that why they call you all the time? Do they feel like you owe them? We have to get to the bottom of this. You know, we have to do better when it comes to this. Now, the person who sent me this, this conversation, this was last minute. I did not prepare. You might have noticed that, but I think I got my point across. Um, I'm gonna do so. I got some stuff coming up, more so on the health and holistic part. I just wanted people to understand that you can't have external expectations. You wouldn't want someone to expect you to do something, right? Even though it hurts. You wouldn't like that. You don't like the pressure. And I wouldn't want anyone to give what they didn't have. A lot of people out here will give what they don't have and then suffer because they gave. We must learn to use discernment. God has given us many of gifts. Um, Dealing with foolish men, foolish women, foolish children is not that. We have discernment. We have a mind. We have intellect. We know what we should be doing and when we should be doing it. And so I hate to see people being taken advantage of, especially people with good hearts, because people can smell those kind of people miles away, and they're the first to hit up, right? So I just wanted to bring that. Well, somebody wanted me to bring that to your attention, so I did. Um, because I like when people bring subjects, and I wish I had a little more time to really work and get into this subject because it is really important, not only to me but to a lot of people and a lot of families, because a lot of families have been broken up. A lot of families don't talk to each other because someone expected someone else to pay their way, right? um and families don't got it like that. Every family ain't rich. A lot of families don't get inheritance, especially, you know our melanated people. We just ain't got it like that. We just don't. So to expect anyone to be able to come in and swoop you up because of choices that you have made, choices you knew you couldn't afford to make but you did anyway, is insane, right? It's just not fair. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the person that's calling you and expecting these things, right? We have to learn to use that block button sometimes. We got to practice in the mirror saying no. I like that little Bugs Bunny meme out there. No, like, we're not doing it. Like, where they do that at? Because it ain't getting done here. And why do they have? This is another thing. Like, people know me. Don't call. I don't care who you are. Don't call me with no foolishness, right? Because I ain't got no problem saying no and like putting you to the side. That's just how I am. Because I don't want any drama in my life, right? Fair, not fair, whatever. I get to choose how my life is ran. And if I want peace, and the only way to get that is to move you to the side, ta-ta. So, but people know who to call and who not to call. So I'm one of those people in the family. I don't never get a call. I don't never get a call because they know, don't come here with that, don't do that. And I try and teach my family members to say no too, because I really want them to be empowered within themselves, but I also want the other person to stop being enabled. And I want them to be able to stand on their foundation, find out who they are, and be able to come and rise up into their own. And everyone is blocking them from doing that, right? Because they're giving, they're in there, they're trespassing. And then they're mad because they come right back asking again. Go on and pass that offering plate. Go on and they're going to come back and they're going to keep asking. Why? Because they know that you're going to be there. They're going to enable. Some people do not want to learn a lesson. They will listen to you and do your whole speech, be mad, whatever, and they'll think that's the price they have to pay to get the money. Yeah, say what you want to say, but at the end, cut me that check, please. Cut me that check, all right? Because the fussing, I already know what that is. And I'll call you next month, and I'll do the fussing and all of that. But please, run me my coins. Okay? That's how they feel. It's sad, but that's how some people are. Like, I'll go through the mud, say, call me whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I need my wallet filled. And I'll be back, and I'll be back, and I'll be back. And there's too many parents and grandparents being caught up feeling guilty because they think grandchildren are more than what they are. Let me tell you something, and let me tell you what God told me when I went through and I healed. And I didn't understand why I had to go through what I went through. I said, but what about the children? And the Spirit said, those aren't your children, those are mine. You've done your job. Your time has passed. So although we are here and we're tied together in one way, we must understand that we all come from source. I taught what I could, and then I had to let go. It was time for the Spirit to take over. The Most High is going to take over. I can't hold on to them. They have to live their life. They have to learn their mistakes. They have to become the being that they were sent here to become. And they can't do that if I'm always intervening. And though I am part of the wise council, because I am close to being an elder, I can sit and I can discuss and I can share if they want. Because what I used to do, I used to be an enabler of information. I used to give information out like nobody's business, and nobody cared to hear it or abide by it. And I had to learn. I was like, this takes a lot of energy out of me. I'm tired and I'm worried, and I'm like, I'm not doing it no more unless you specifically ask about something. That's the only way I'm going to tell you. I don't just offer up anything. I don't cast my pearls to swine, honey. I done learned a lesson. It took some time, but I learned a lesson. And I don't do it no more. I don't trespass. If you want to know, you'll ask. You have wise counsel. And bless those that have no wise counsel, because I was one of those. I did not have wise counsel. I did what I thought was right. But thank God that even though my mom and dad had split, they were together enough for me, and I was old enough to see how a family dynamic is supposed to work. Had I not seen that, I don't know. I don't know where I would be. But I did see that. And so, even in that, in not having a wise counsel around me, um, I knew right from wrong. And I did the best I could with what I was given. And Lord knows, ooh, honey, I made some mistakes. I made some mistakes. But through that, I've learned a lot. And I continue to grow and continue to learn. And I try to share with those that are younger, only if they ask now, only if they're intrigued now, only if they're on this journey and they know that things aren't looking right, but they don't know how to get to the other side. You know, those who are in pain and who are tired, those are the ones that I'm here for. The others, I don't know. It takes a toll on people. You can't just go around saving everybody, because not everybody wants to be saved. I'm sure there's a song out there talking about it. Everybody does not want to be saved. You have to really look and evaluate who you're dealing with. What are they talking about? Listen, because the code is in their language, right? It's in their eyes, it's in their movement. And if you can't read that, you're in big trouble. You're one of those they're going to take for a ride. And when they're done, they don't look back, they just keep going. And then you say, "What about me?" And their response to you is, "I never told you you had to do that. You had a choice." Isn't that funny? Personal responsibility. You had a choice. That's what they'll tell you. You decided to do that. I didn't make you. So now it's not their problem. And you know what? They're absolutely right. They're absolutely right. No one made you help them. Nobody told you to co-sign. Nobody told you to give that $600 over. Nobody told you to do anything. You chose to do that. And because they didn't value you, nor did they value what you gave, their response to you is, "You had a choice. I didn't make you do anything." And you sit there and you're upset, but you chose this path. And they're being honest with you when you should have been honest with them. Look, y'all, I gotta get ready to get out of here. I'll be outside all day. You know, it's hot out here. It's cold inside. I don't know what I'm doing. I've been working all day. Um, Next Sunday, I think, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just trying, y'all. I'm gonna come back with another subject. I'm not sure. I might do a DIY though. Rose water or rose hydrocell. Um, I'm not really sure. But hey, on the flip note, look, Rooted Vines has a new platform. We have moved away from Wix and we are now on Shopify. We are also on Etsy, and we changed our domain name to myrootedvines.com. I don't think people trusted the dot store. I mean, I had people buy, but we went to myrootedvines.com. And so I got this sale going on, you guys, for sea moss gummies. So you buy one and you get one free. So it's 60 pills per bottle, and it's 40% off this starting tomorrow for our grand opening of our new Shopify store. So I'm praying everything works all right. And if you get a chance, just drop by, check out the new site, check out the new Etsy site. I've gotten to a point that now I can run some ads, so I'm excited about that. Tell your friends about it. You know what? And thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And even though I may be talking to you, 9 times out of 10, I'm talking to myself, because you have to earn courage and uplift yourself in all things. And just because you think you know something, there's deeper levels to this thing. I always tell y'all there's levels to this thing, right? So you can never stop learning about self. and learning about the world and how you interact with it and how it interacts with you, right? So I want you guys to have a beautiful week. I want you to have a beautiful week. I want you to know that you are worthy, that you are beautiful, right? That you're creative, you're intelligent, you are wealthy, and you are rich. And even if it's not monetary, it's in the air you breathe, it's in your heartbeat, it's in the smile that you give. Never let the little things go. Don't forget about that because that is wealth. That is riches also. Know that you are full of riches. Your barns overflow, right? Believe that with your whole heart. No matter what you're going through, the storm can't last always. The clouds have to move and the sun will come out. So grab hold to those things. Think forward to those things. Imagine those good things. See yourself prospering because I see you prospering. All right, you guys, I love you, family. You take care of yourself. If you get a chance, stop by our Facebook group, Rooted Vines. And until next Sunday, toodaloo.